I'm the greatest bodybuilder ever. And one tough son of a bitch.
I actually picked up a magazine at 12 years old, and I saw a picture of Chris Dickerson, who's a former Mr. Olympia, and that's when I said I want to look like this. And of course, being a kid, you marvel over like superheroes, and you want to look like, you know, Superman or whatever. I was just really limited what I could do for sports. The track team wanted me really bad, but I couldn't participate in a lot of the weekend events because I was working after school, weekends, and school vacations in the concrete business. And that taught me a lot of dedication. I give a lot of credit to what that did for me because I was forced to get up before school, after school. I was doing chores on the farm, and I hated my parents at the time. I hated my dad, I hated my brothers, because there's a big age gap between my brother, who's the youngest to me. Three brothers were born first, then my sisters, then myself. So I really kind of hated them because I was kind of forced to work, even though they were kind of raising me in a sense. And I ended up working, like I said, any free time I had was spent working while the other kids were going on vacations and doing fun things. I was a great football player. I was a defensive tackle and a running back. I was fast, I had a lot of speed, and I was very muscular because of starting to work at the age of 11, working on the farm. I had a very rugged body, and a lot of my sisters and brothers' friends just say, does your brother lift weights? And I never toyed with any weights. No one trained in my family. I remember, in high school, I used to go to like they used to bring me to competitions. We'd have our football team would do these powerlifting competitions, and I would kill everybody in all the lifts, squat, deadlift. I mean, I benched 315 in high school. I didn't even know how to lift weights. So I had a lot of strength too. So for me, it was kind of like an ego thing where I decided at 18 I was pursuing a degree in criminal justice. I was going to college, and I stopped working the concrete. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to dedicate myself to the gym. I joined the gym my 18th birthday. It was 1991, August 3rd. I saved up $300 and I put a membership down at Gold's Gym in Worcester, Massachusetts, and that's when I started my quest in bodybuilding. Although I didn't know anything about lifting weights, I kind of sat and watched and learned, and at the time it was just magazines. So I would pick up scrap magazines at the gym and I would learn. I tried to get a lot of people to help me, but no one would really give me the attention because I was just a young kid and I was the kid that if I saw any leg equipment in there, I would do every leg machine, every chest machine, every shoulder machine. So I kind of overtrained, but at the same time, my body still responded because for the first time in my life, I wasn't doing the labor work. I was actually going to college and I was eating. I learned about nutrition. I read about a lot of stuff about it. And for me, fortunately, I linked up with a nutritionist probably 6 months after training named Chris Aceto, who's a big dietitian for a lot of the top guys. His ex-wife was actually second place runner-up at the Miss Olympia a few times. The first time I got on stage, I was hooked. I placed second at my first show, became a teenage national bodybuilding champion at 19, and the story of JayCutler started. I did progress so fast, even on this little amount of calories, because like I said, I've been doing labor work my whole life. For the first time I was going to classes and I was eating in between. I remember eating boxes of cereal in between because my budget was limited too because I wasn't making a lot of money. I was working a security job at the time, and it kind of was relative to the field I was getting into with the criminal justice where, I was trying to lead towards like prison work, or I wanted to be a police officer. My mom actually helped me a lot. She helped me buy chicken breast. She was actually in the service. She was married to a military guy, my stepfather, and they would get cheaper chicken breasts at the commissary, so I was able to get, food from them and not spend as much on the budget. And that's really what kind of gave me the edge. And nutrition, I'd have to say, was the biggest learning curve, but it really put me to the next level because I learned a lot about it early, and I was able to develop my body like to the fullest potential. I prepared for a competition over 4 months. So I always gave myself 16 weeks to prepare, which gave me enough time to slowly lose body fat and retain the muscle mass or make improvements. And the thing is with me, every show I ever did, I tend to actually be more dedicated and more focused on the nutrition aspect and the consistent training, that it allowed me to make improvements. And I think that's really what kind of built me towards the end. And then I was just competing once a year for the Mr. Olympia. After you win everything else, that's kind of what they do, is we kind of move towards the one crown. Remember, I'm bodybuilding, so I'm looking for the roundest, fullest muscle tissue you can get to perform while you train. And I feel that carbohydrates, you're gonna get that through eating carbs, and it's, like I said, you have to time those and eat them around the training. So anyone even trying to lean out, bulk up, whatever, you've got to get those calories. I tell everyone there's 3 most important meals a day. First meal of the day and the meal before and after training. Those 3 meals, they have to be calorie dense meals. Otherwise, you're trying to run the machine on nothing. You can't. You need the calories around those meals to be able to perform. My legs were my easiest body part to build, and I was known for my legs. When people started talking about this up-and-coming teenager kid in Massachusetts, they talked about the kid with the crazy legs. Because I'd had like the best legs in the gym even after a year of training. It was just one of those body parts that it was a sweep, The day I moved out there, I woke up in the morning and it was like I was smiling in the sun, and I'm like, this is gonna be a new venture for me. Sure enough, 6 months later, after placing 15th at the Mr. Olympia, I went to the Night of Champions, the first pro show I did, and I won my first pro show. I never believed in gaining a lot of body fat. I always had visible abs and cut thighs in the off season, even at 300 pounds. My goal was just a lot of food. And I would eat 1,000 grams of carbohydrates a day, and I would eat 300 to 400 grams of protein a day. So I went by those numbers. So I knew a breakfast, and I would eat probably 6 to 8 meals a day. And the breakfast I ate, I still eat even being retired. At 44, I still eat the same breakfast. I eat 20 egg whites for breakfast, a couple whole eggs, 2 slices of flour spread, bowl of oatmeal, a cup of coffee, and it's pretty much the same I ate even on a contest diet. Listen, bodybuilding is a very, very individual business where I was in the gym 4 times a day when I was training for Olympia titles. I would do 2 cardio sessions, 2 weight sessions. The rest was spent cooking. I was eating 7 meals a day. It would take me an hour, just a lot, to eat a lot of those meals. So I was spending 7 hours just eating my food, never mind the cooking process and the resting in between and the time you spend at the gym. It's 11 hours between training and eating. It was crazy.